through Friday.
You're watching 2 Works for You at 10.
A live look outside as rain starts to fade. All day long, it's been off and on.
Just enough to create some puddles on the roads, making them more than a little slick. And with dropping temperatures, all that could change for the worse in the morning.
Let's go ahead and check in with Chief Meteorologist Mike Collier to see just how low these temperatures are going to go tonight and how cold tomorrow morning is going to be. Mike.
Yeah, tomorrow morning, the coldest morning of the season so far. Right now, temperatures cold, Tulsa 39, but the real cold air has not arrived yet. It will in the next couple of hours. And hour by hour future track temperatures show that perfectly. Look at midnight, 37, and then down to 28 by 2 a.m. into the teens by 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. Wind chills, what it will feel like at 9 a.m. It will feel like 6 degrees in Tulsa. Grand Lake, you're going to feel like 1 degree below zero. Stigler, 9, and McAllister, it's going to feel like 10 at 9 a.m. If you're tired of it, want some sunshine, warmer weather, I've got great news for you. I'm going to share that with you in about 15 minutes.
All right, thank you, Michael. As he just said, tonight temperatures are going to be dropping down into the teens.
And that could create problems on the roads. 2 Works for You's Katie Kelleher is driving out and driving around. She's checking the conditions. I think you're supposed to be on Riverside. Am I right, Katie?
Yeah, Mike and Karen, we're headed south on Riverside, just south of the gathering place. And I'll turn the camera around so you can see what we're seeing right now. Roads, for the most part right now, are pretty dry. There are puddles here and there that, again, as Mike said, you know, once the temperatures get lower, could potentially see some freezing spots, maybe some black ice. I did speak with the city of Tulsa, and they said they're monitoring the roads. Right now, they're not treating them, but they'll continue to monitor them throughout the night, so that could change. And again, right now, not too bad out here, but as the temperatures fall, we'll definitely need to keep an eye on that. Guys, for right now, I'll send it back to you.
All right, thank you, Katie. Well, a neighborhood in East Tulsa is on the hunt for a stop sign killer. They say that a nearby sign is run over at least twice a month.
Yeah, they worry about wasted taxpayer money spent on constant replacements. 2 Works for You, Sierra Pizarro, shows us how they've made light of the situation.
It's a funny story with some mystery involved.
This one is when we really started taking notice that it was starting to become a trend. That's Ned, who went down January. Ozzy was next. He came down January. The new one, Pete, he came down in 1st February. Quickie went up shortly thereafter, and he ended up going down yesterday.
And the new one, Repeat. The Rosedew neighborhood names its beloved signs online.
We started voting on what the S is going to be for the new one, because we have a feeling this one's not going to be up for very much longer.
It's a concerning trend.
Is this an accident? You know, there's car parks being left behind.
Those who've lived around here long enough say the running over of the stop sign goes back to 2014.
So from what neighbors calculate, this is the 44th stop sign sitting here at 161st East Avenue in Admiral.
Since January 10th of this year, number 5 just went up yesterday.
This is a busy intersection, and the sign is in plain sight. Even by nightfall, the area is lit.
Why do you think this is happening?
That is a mystery to all of us. We don't know if it's because of the increased traffic on Admiral due to the construction.
It's a lot of tax money, you know, when you could put something in place and spend that extra money somewhere else within the city.
The city replaces the fallen signs with new ones immediately. I asked how much the constant damage costs taxpayers. I'm waiting to hear back. But they do say they're working to illuminate the sign, and in the next several weeks, put another one in that warns drivers of the upcoming stop. In Tulsa, I'm Sierra Pizarro. 2 Works for You.
Thanks, Sierra. Well, the Oklahoma Senate unanimously passed a bill that would increase the statute of limitations on 1st and 2nd degree manslaughter. Currently, prosecutors can file charges for manslaughter up to 3 years after it happened. The new bill would raise that to 10. Senator Lonnie Paxton, who authored the bill, says suspects in hit-and-run accidents are one of the main targets of the legislation.
With pedestrians or with bicyclists is where oftentimes, you know, they're hit, and we've heard of that many times where the driver was never found. But if they're found after 3 years, they get away with it. And so this allows prosecutors and law enforcement, you know, an opportunity. If they discover something down the road, then they still have an opportunity to prosecute somebody.
And and the bill now moves to the House for approval. Well, state lawmakers are also working to make it easier for teachers to carry a firearm on campus. Under the current state law, a teacher must have 72 hours of CLEAT armed security guard training and school board permission to carry a firearm on campus. But House Bill 2336 would let a teacher carry with just 8 hours of training required for the standard firearm permit. They'd also need permission from their school board and training required by their local law enforcement. Now, the bill passed mostly along party lines, with Democrats raising several concerns about reducing the training.
Is there a reason why you don't have in this bill a minimum standard?
The worst case scenario is that you have a shooter come on campus and nobody's there to respond. This is a much needed step to save lives.
I think that it's a very valid option for those people who want to protect their kids.
The Senate passed the bill after it was amended to beef up those training requirements, requiring teachers to participate in active shooter training with local law enforcement. It now heads back to the House for approval. And today, the man accused of murdering 22 people in an El Paso, Texas Walmart faced a federal judge. He's charged with 22 counts of murder and 23 counts of attempted murder. 21-year-old Patrick Crucius allegedly opened fire with an assault rifle last August. The federal government filed hate crime charges against him last week. And today, the judge outlined the charges. Crucius pleaded not guilty.
And taking a look ahead now, tomorrow, Demarco Brown is expected to enter into a sentencing agreement as part of his deal in connection with the 2017 murder of Dakota Rex. Brown was one of the 3 defendants in the case. He was going to testify against the shooter, Marquise White, but White entered a guilty plea and was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. Also in court, Kevin Foster will be formally sentenced. He was found guilty of shooting and killing his former stepfather, Ricky Swan, setting the body on fire and then taking pictures. A jury wants Foster to spend his life in prison without the possibility of parole. Tomorrow, the judge will decide whether to follow the jury's recommendation. And a Sand Springs man will spend the next 10 years in prison and 5 years of supervised release for attempted coercion and enticement of a minor from March 21st of 2019 to June 10th of the same year. Thomas Williams used his cell phone and 2 social media apps to communicate online with who he thought was a 13-year-old girl. He was really messaging a Tulsa police officer. The 40-year-old was arrested after arranging to meet the minor in June.
And now, a consumer alert. Honda is recalling more than 200,000 of its minivans. The problem involves the wiring harness that runs to a third-row power outlet. It may have been pinched and damaged during manufacturing, which can short circuit and start a fire. The recall covers 2018 to 2020 Odyssey EXL, Touring, and Elite minivans. Owners will be notified of the recall by mail in mid-March. You know, no one likes doing them, figuring out your taxes. Of course, there are a lot of advertisements about free tax filing, but in the end, we often end up paying because of the small print. Well, tonight, the changes you need to know about so you don't waste your money. Tax filing season in full swing. Good news. This year, the IRS has made it easier than ever to file free. One is by preventing companies from steering you to their paid sites.
Automatically put me in deluxe, and I thought, I did not make that kind of money.
Also in past years, companies often hid their free filing pages so that taxpayers ended up paying. But under a new agreement with the IRS, tax prep firms like TurboTax have agreed to make their free file site easy to find on Google or on their homepage. So if your adjusted gross income is $69,000 or less this year, you should qualify for free filing. But not all companies use the $60,000 threshold. At Tax Act, it's $59,000, and with TurboTax, it's just $36,000 for most people. So you don't waste your time. Your best bet is to simply start at the IRS website and go through their free file section. That way, you'll end up with a preparer that meets your income. And by the way, the IRS does not contact taxpayers by email, text messages, or social media channels ever to request personal or financial information. We went ahead and checked the IRS website for you. We found that not many people are rushing to file their tax return right now. The number of returns filed as of the 1st of February down about 12.5% from the same time last year. According to the IRS, the average refund this year is also down by almost 8.5%. In 2018, the average return was just over $2,000. This year, the average return is running $1,865.
Tonight, a Midtown Tulsa family is asking for your help to find their four-legged friend. Trico was at the vet near 51st and Harvard, and while outside, he managed to jump their 6-foot privacy fence and take off. The puppy they fostered for more than a year was last seen late Tuesday night near 71st and Yale. Someone said he may have been hit by a car and limped away. If you have seen the dog, call 918-637-0329.
Well, they fought to save homes and buildings from the ravages of fire while fighting for equality in the Tulsa Fire Department.
He paved the way, all 6 of those guys paved the way.
Meet the 6, Tulsa's first black firefighters. Hear how they inspired the next generation by not only doing their job, but also what they endured as a result. It's our Black History Focus when you join us tomorrow at 10 here on 2 Works for You.
All right, here's something you certainly don't want to meet underwater. Yeah, Jaws. Look at that right there. Jim Kochi was diving Tuesday off of Palm Beach when a massive giant white shark swam within just feet of him. Kochi said the female great white, which was about 15 to 20 feet long, passed by him 3 times and seemed to be very friendly. He believes the shark was pregnant. He says he's been diving for more than 50 years. This is the first time he has ever encountered a great white shark.
And
yeah,
may I say, may never again. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
No.
All right. Well, next at 10, winter cold rolls in with today's rain. We take a real-time look at Tulsa area roads for you.
And vinyl resurrection, the new demand for an old music format. I'm Mike Brooks.
I'm Karen Larson. You're watching 2 Works for You at 10.
All right, that morning commute could be a concern for drivers as those temperatures drop on wet roads.
Let's check in with 2 Works for You's Katie Kelleher. She's in our storm truck tonight checking the roads for us. Katie.
Yeah, Mike and Karen, we are now on I-44 West. I'll turn the camera around again so you can see that these roads right now on the interstate are fairly dry. I think a concern for the morning when you're headed to work could be the arterial roads and some of the side streets. Those are looking definitely more wet right now, and as the temperatures fall tonight, those could cause some freezing and black ice on there. So when you're headed out in the morning for work, definitely be careful on those. We spoke with the city of Tulsa, and they're not treating the roads right now. They are monitoring them throughout the night, so as the temperatures fall, whether they treat them or not, that could change. Just be extra careful in the morning as you head out because I think there definitely could be a few slick spots as we go down into the freezing temperatures. But right now, everything's pretty good. Highways and interstates mostly dry. It's just your side streets you want to be a little extra careful on. And right now, I'll send it back to you guys.
All right, Katie, thank you.
Our weather in the morning, very chilly out there.
It is. Yeah, it's one of the times I like working at night because it means I don't have to be out there that early in the morning. A few snow flurries moving through the area right now. Let's go ahead and show you on our dual Doppler. This is high-resolution Doppler radar showing a few snowflakes falling from Coffeyville, moving into the Bartlesville area down towards Pawhuska. This continues to track to the southeast, might clip far northeastern Tulsa County. I want to emphasize this is really light snow flurries. This isn't going to cause any accumulation or any travel problems, but a few little snowflakes might be flying in the air over the next hour or 2 as much colder air pours into the region. So the Arctic blast just to our north, Dodge City at 24. McCook, Nebraska. Everybody knows about McCook, Nebraska. Temperatures in the teens there. I don't know how that town popped up, but we'll get some more populated towns for you for our Nebraska friends. Anyway, Oklahoma City 38, Dallas 43 degrees. So here comes the cold air, and we can see overnight tonight, 2 a.m. 27 degrees. By 6 a.m. 19. But again, that tells you half the story because you factor in those north winds at times gusting to 20 miles per hour. It's going to feel like 6 in the metro. Bartlesville, it's going to feel like 1 in your area. Pryor 2, Stigler at 9, Tahlequah at 4, Grand Lake at 1 degree below 0. Tulsa right now at 38 degrees, northwest winds at 13 miles per hour. The dew point 35, that's going to drop as drier, colder air moves into the region over the next several hours. And our low for the day will probably be met about 11:59 tonight. Outside right now, we still have plenty of clouds on the Dave's Claremore RV Weather Camera Network. It is cloudy and chilly. But if you're a fan of warmer weather, we've got great news for you. The weekend looks amazing, 60s with sunshine in the area. really just a great weekend to be outside, enjoy some pleasant conditions. And the next 7 days really have large temperature swing from the cold conditions tomorrow to the beautiful weather Saturday, Sunday into Monday, turning colder again next Tuesday and Wednesday, but nowhere near the cold we'll be dealing with over the next 24 hours. Right now it's chilly again, upper 30s across the region, 19 in Tulsa for your morning low, air temperature at 19, wind chill in the single digits. Only 32 for your high tomorrow, 44 on Friday, 60s for your Saturday into Sunday. And then we see another cool spell hit our area Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. We have started something really cool here that I'm super excited about, and that's Beyond the Forecast. And we recorded a wonderful podcast today. You can find it at KJRH.com, links to the podcast, or you can just find it on Apple. You can find it on Stitcher. Whatever you listen to your podcast on, just search Beyond the Forecast and subscribe. And today we talked about mental health and its impacts, or at least the weather and its impact on mental health. A lot of folks are scared of severe weather. We had a psychologist on today, Dr. Hubbard, who helped get people through some things and give them some tools to make them feel a little more at ease when there's the threat for severe weather.
That's great advice there. I love that it's in the old radio room here too.
I know. It's really cool, and it's coming along. It's not done completely yet. We'll go up there live one night once we get ready to go.
Good stuff. You talked about light, too, in mental health, because I listened, rather.
You did.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, sad, yeah.
Okay. For decades, vinyl records were the only game in town, but in the 1980s, CDs came along and basically put vinyl on life support. Well, now there's a new generation ready to resurrect vinyl and give it a second spin. It's been a hard day's night for vinyl.
I really thought, 15, 20 years ago, vinyl had seen its day and it was gone.
But here comes the sun.
10 or 12 years ago, vinyl started slowly picking up, and then probably 5 or 6 years ago, it started breakneck.
Written off for dead in 1986, vinyl records are back and poised to outsell CDs nationwide for the first time in 34 years. But why?
You can say I have 50,000 songs in this little box that sits in my underwear drawer. But it's not the same as saying, look at my records.
Record store owner Paul Epstein says in today's streaming age, people are coming back to the physical appeal and sounds of classic vinyl.
The only time I'm disappointed is when I hear something streaming, and then I'm like, this sounds terrible.
Chris Wilcox and his 9-year-old daughter Molly are sold on vinyl.
You take the record out, you put it on, you hear the crackle. It's just something that's more of a personal feel.
From The Dead to Hendrix and Journey to John Cougar, Wilcox says the rush of placing the needle is a physical experience streaming music just can't touch.
You can not only feel it, but when you flip open an old album, you can actually smell it. The music kind of comes to life from this piece of vinyl, which, anymore seems incredible, right?
For Molly, it's all about the artwork.
I just like looking at the pictures. They're pretty cool.
Epstein thinks eventually streaming music will run its course and even CDs will make a comeback.
It's been tremendously rewarding for me personally to see the collecting of records come back and appreciation for the sound and the aesthetic things that they bring.
There you go. Epstein believes streaming music is convenient. He is gratified, though, that the long and winding road brought music lovers back to appreciating the sweet sounds that only vinyl records can provide.
I love that. No doubt. Well, sports is next. Stay with us.
Yes.
Now, to Works For You Sports, sponsored by your Oklahoma Ford dealers.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into sports. We're talking emojis on this Wednesday evening, or otherwise known as emoticons. And if you're not familiar with them, it's 2020. Get with the program. At today's press conference, Lincoln Riley told the story of how this googly eyes emoji let the Sooners know Demarco Murray was interested in going back home.
After word broke that we were going to be looking for a new running back coach, I was actually in Dallas recruiting with Coach Gundy, and he showed me his phone, and DeMarco sent him a text with the eyeballs. So, you didn't know that, yeah. So yeah, I thought that was a good recruit for us there as well.
It's always a point to me to, what can I do to help young guys and young athletes pursue their goals, and coaching, what better way to do it. Obviously being here, obviously it's Coach Lincoln's decision, and I didn't want to influence him in any way or make a call. So I've always had it in my mind to be a coach. I just didn't know the timing, aspect of it.